What is up, YouTubers? It is that time of the year again. Actually, it's a better time of the year this year versus last year. I am going to be attacking my Oystershell scale. Last year was the first year I put out this Safari 20 SG insecticide on the trees as a bark spray. I didn't get it out last year until I think it was July. I'll put a link up here to the video from last year where I put this on. Last year I used this stuff, I think it was 115 bucks, I think it's 125 this year. Made a whole gallon of solution. I think we can stretch it out a little bit further. This year, we're going to make 2 gallons of it, and to make it more bark penetrating, I've got 4 ounces of this Pentra Bark, P-E-N-T-R-A. It's a surfactant. It's supposed to allow the juice, the solution, to be absorbed into the tree easier, better, further, more productive, all those good adjectives. Because this stuff is a systemic, all I need to do is get it into the system of the tree. The trees are greening up. I've got 3 or 4 that are not budding out yet. They're always a little bit late for some reason or another, but all the rest are pretty much fully foliaged out. So as long as I get this stuff into the system, once those oyster shell scale, the little crawlers start crawling, at least whichever ones are still alive, once they start crawling and they bite into the trees, they're not going to do any damage and it's going to kill them. I'm hoping a couple years of this is going to get rid of it and bring all my lives healthy back. The other main thing I'm doing this for is also because of the sprouts, the saplings that are coming up. I got some that are like, 30 inches tall, and I got some that are this tall and this tall. I know I've got damage on some of my trees that are not going to get any better, and they're probably going to get worse. But I also want for propagation. I want the new Aspens to come up so that I've got a constant, steady flow of trees growing, dying, coming up. I've got my nifty little mixer here. So 4 quarts is a gallon. That's all this stuff made last year was 1 gallon. This year we're making 2 gallons. We're still spraying the same amount of trees, and we're gonna spray all the little saplings too, I guess you'd call it. And that's gonna be in the morning. But while we're waiting, I wanna show you some aerial drone footage of my front yard and my trees that are doing okay and that are not doing that okay, but they're still alive. There's damage done. I don't know how well it's gonna come back. And then I'm gonna shoot the drone across the street. And I want you to see what my neighbors, who are Californians, second home, they're not here that often. So let's take a look at that drone footage, and then after that, we're gonna go outside and mix this up in the morning. Okay, these are my big trees in the front of my house. These first ones got a little bit of damage, but they got a bunch of leaves. This one right here in the center of the screen, that's got the most damage. And I was really worried that I would even get this much leaves coming back this spring. So it's not as bad as I was expecting it to be based on the previous damage of the Oystershell scale. But as bad as it may look, I don't know. It's probably a loss, but it might not be a loss for a couple more years. before I got to take it down. Then you can see this little one off to the left of it. It's got no leaves on it. It's got about a 3-inch trunk, and it is toast. I just haven't had the time to cut it down yet. Wishful thinking, I guess. Now, if you look straight across the street from me at my neighbor's house, he didn't know he had this problem until I pointed it out to him. Most of his trees are toast. They're gone. Everything's leafed up by this time of the year, and you can see he's got very few leaves. He doesn't even, of all his trees, he's got enough leaves on them that would cover maybe a 10-foot tree that's 2 inches in diameter. The ones closest to his house, they're completely dead. But this is a California absentee second home owner. These out here by the front of his house, yeah, they're toast. They're gone. So a couple things I've been thinking about before we get going is, because this is a Basal trunk spray application, I'm going to spray the trunks of everything. It cannot hurt, right? So that's going to be my spruce trees, my purple passion tree, everything. Anything that's growing is going to get the trunk sprayed. There's our 4 ounces of Pentra Bark. Make sure we get it all. I remember last time, and remember that video is in the series. This is number 6 of my Oystershell scale problems. Oh, that's almost a gallon already of just water. Oh yeah, I saw a video from the Safari group, the people that make this, Valent, V-A-L-E-N-T, and he was showing, you want to make sure that this thing is mixed up, you know, completely. And he showed it. Oh, these things look like little tapeworms, little round things. He showed him mixing it up first inside a container like this, and then adding it to the water solution. I already have my 1 gallon sprayer pre-adjusted for the flow rate that I'm really looking for. So you want to make sure you get all the little granules of the Safari broken up and mixed up. And as Carl, the cooking guy, says, and we mix. So last time the advice I got was from a lady doing spraying pine trees to get rid of some beetle stuff, using the same thing, but she was like real adamant about making sure that you get the solution clear. That's when you know you got it good. So I'm gonna mix up this down here, which has got the whatchamacallit, Pentra Bark, and then this up here. The guy on the Valent video, his looked like it was kind of milky, but we'll make sure we get this really good. Some of the application rates that they show online, or the applications itself, they show them applying this to pine trees. Pine trees have a real thick, dense, rough bark. I show them on oak trees for those ash borers or in ash trees. I'm spraying this majority on aspens. I'm gonna get a couple scrub oaks too. And the aspen bark is very thin. It's very smooth. If you ever wipe your hand on it, or if you're skiing and you rub up against one in the trees, you get that ash dust, the aspen dust. You get the aspen dust all over your jacket and clothing. So I don't think that's why I think I can go more with the Pentra Bark and a 2-gallon versus a gallon like I did last year, and still get a good application and protection and the systemic. Because the bark's not as thick or as dense. It's, the tree vascular system is not drawing as much or through as much to get into the system as on an aspen tree. That's where I'm trying to go with this. Yeah. All right. This is very milky, as you can see. But I think it's all dissolved. So, now comes the danger part. If you read the label on the Safari, this thing says it causes death upon contact. Makes it look like the warning label on Roundup. Look like an orange juice label. Okay, I think you're somewhat rinsed clean, but you will get put into the recycling garbage, as will you. And now at the 8-quart level on the water, but we got another 2 quarts of bubbles on top. That does look like it's getting clear. I'm gonna let that settle a little bit, and we'll come back and spray. Okay, as you can tell, my juice is pretty much clear. Got a tint to it, but it's clear. Let's get the first gallon in the bucket. Close enough. All right, we're good to go. Spray the first little bit is going to be water left in the line. And then here we go. So even my little saplings we're going to get. Now let's get everything. I forget what those little things here are called. They got little purple leaves on them. Get both sides of the trunk until you get runoff. And let's get inside on the spruce. And here we go. All right, so there's this bigger, older aspen right here. It's got the rough bark on it, like I was telling you. This will require a little bit more spraying, only because, yeah, you got the rougher bark, and you want to be able to let the juice get in there and penetrate it all. That's why I'm really happy we got 2 gallons of product this time. Yeah. And I think I'm going to be out of frame on the camera over here, because I think everybody gets the point by now, right? That tree over there. Here we go. And this little sapling here. And you know what? I'll just put a little douse of this on the sage brush. You get the point now, right? You know, there's a couple places where you can see the roots of the spreader roots of the aspens. I think I'll wait and spray those if I got enough solution left over. But for right now, let's go do this. All right, so that's what we're doing this year. I got the juice on the trees a few months early, so it's going to get sucked in systemically. It's going to make it up to the top of the trees, and a little varied, and the new sprouts and everything are going to have the Safari juice in it, and it should work. Give me a thumbs up. I think thumbs up is like right about there, and a like and a subscribe will be over there. And if this has helped you, or if you're mixing this into, 3 gallons or 4 gallons or 5 gallons out of one of these things, and you're having success, please put it in the comments for me and for anybody that's watching this. And I will put the links to the Pentra Bark and the Safari in the description right down below here. Click for more, see more. That's it, man. That's all I got. See you.